Alright, this is the last case from the knockout rounds last weekend that I haven't uploaded yet. This is Text Me Back. So I really love this case because as an older person, I'm 35 now, I did actually use one of these phones and text like this. So the whole idea of the case is translating some numbers into the text and the text into numbers for how you would type them on an old school mobile phone. So I thought I had done awesome on this case. I thought I'd be in 1,000 points. Because I sort of got everything, but then when I checked my answers after, I realised I actually got question 1 wrong, which is a big blunder. So I have an alphabet lambda, so I spilled that. I need to import my lambdas, that might be useful. So if I say equals alphabet, it gives me the alphabet. So my idea to start the case was just to do like an XLOOKUP approach like this. So I typed all these out manually, live, because it's pretty quick, and then looked them up to here and got the letters out. But obviously those letters are capitals here, and I didn't realise that capitals mattered until later on and didn't think to go back and check question 1. So what I really should have done is done lower of the alphabet to get it all in lowercase, and then that would have been much better. So let's just quickly type these out manually. I think there's 4 7s. Obviously I could have done that with a formula, but I mean it's pretty quick to do like that. Now this alphabet stuff where a letter corresponds to a specific number has come up a load of times in word cases now. And for that reason I've built a specific lambda that's called word value. So if I just take a letter, let's take an H for example, and I say equals word value, it takes a letter or a word and letters and the value of those letters. So it will tell me that H is worth 44, which is correct. So all that is an XLOOKUP. But the benefit of it is I can do whole words to kind of get, you know, Scrabble points for a word, and so on. And then I also have a case sensitive argument. So if I just put an H down here, it also works on arrays. So just to show this lambda off a bit, I need to make a lambda video to show all these off, but whatever. So it works on arrays, which is nice, and I can make it case sensitive. So if I say case sensitive, this H isn't here because it's not capital. So let's just get all the capitals out. So I can say upper of this, and then let's set those up. So the upper is hash with a dash, that's a bit of a mouthful, and all that stuff. So that's the long form of every letter, and then we have symbols. So we have a space, we have a full stop, comma, question mark, exclamation mark, and those are represented by a 0, and then asterisks, like so. So this is the long form for each letter, and as we go down the case we get into short form, which is just typing one of those. So I'm going to say equals left of this, and let's just go to here. And then the short form for capital is just the hash and that. So the symbols are exactly the same. So I'm going to label this letter, long, short, and then if I do Control-Shift F3, I can label them in the name manager. Now the one downfall with this lambda is when I had it set up previously, and I've now adjusted it after doing this case, it could only look up numbers and sum them together, whereas in here we start looking for things that are not numbers. So everything with a hash on is not a number, and in the case these are actually all formatted as non-numbers, they're formatted as text. So just to set up for the case a bit further, I want these all to be text instead of numbers. So I can say equals that and a blank character. So that's them all now being text. And now you can see that my word value lambda errors out. So I've since added an argument to say join instead, and that will join all of the symbols for the letters. And I also have an option to change the delimiter. So I could put the delimiter as nothing and it would join them back. So as you can see, this is going to really make this case easy. And when I did it for real, I didn't use this lambda, but I did use the method, like I said, of how I built the lambda. So the method is basically we're just going to do XLOOKUPs to find the letters and give back the long or short form, and we're going to kind of join them together. The difficulty is if you just use an XLOOKUP, you cannot distinguish between capitals and lowercase, so you need a way to do to distinguish them. So you use the exact formula of that. So the way I do that, if I just take a letter, for example, I'm going to say if exact that letter and this, give me the long form. Otherwise, give me blank. Need another bracket there. So what you'll see is that formula will work down this list and give me the exact match, which is on a capital H, which is this hash 44. And the way I've got it to work on full strings is to concat that. And then basically I use my split letters lambda to make this work on various strings. I say map split text, which splits this down into letters. Lambda A, concatenate exact, and that becomes A. And then we get every letter spilled out, and I can kind of text join them with a delimiter or whatever. So that's what the lambda's doing, and that's how you find exact matches. So now I've shown you how the lambda works. Let's do it with the lambda. So the first question is just to look up what this letter is. So I'm going to look up this key press in the long form and give me the letter. And we want exactly the same the other way around. So let's just copy our formula in. So we want the letter and the long form. And there is one question here that I fundamentally disagree with. So this is an error. So I got this wrong in the actual question because it's asking you to look for an underscore. Now you cannot actually type an underscore on this phone. You can only type these characters. You can, however, type a space, and that's what they mean because they're trying to indicate that a space is this underscore here. But really, this should just be asking how to type a space. So I disagree with that. I feel like that's a bit of a gotcha, not really fair question, but whatever. Now we're doing the same thing, but for multiple letters. So let's use my lambda here. So word value, this value, well, I don't actually need to go there because I've named everything. And I have my letters. I have my long form. I'll put it case sensitive because it matters for the next question, but not this one. And I want to join it, and the delimiter is a dash, which is the default. So that is all I need to do for that one now. And although I'm not doing it with the lambda here, like I said, I did it with the exact formula that's underneath that lambda in the actual case. And now sticking with long form, so that is exactly the same thing. I think the difference between this level and the last one is that we have capitals here. And level 5, we are doing short form. So I basically want to do exactly the same thing, but I'm looking up the short form instead. So short, and actually in the short one you get rid of the dashes. So I want my delimiter to be nothing. So again, in the real thing I did exactly that, and I just joined it with a blank character. Now this one is showing us an error because there's one more rule here, and that's if all of these are capitals, you need to put a hash before and no other hashes in the string. So how do we tell if something is all capitals? Well, we can split the text down here, and then we can say, does that equal the upper of it? And again, we need to use the exact formula. So we'll say exact of that and the upper of the same thing. And that's going to tell me if the letters are capitalized or not, and if all of them are capitalized. So we can say and, that means the whole string is capitalized. So if that's true, we are going to do a hash in front and get rid of the dashes. So let's say let A be that. If this, then do hash and substitute A, the old hashes for a blank, otherwise do A. So that's a lot of extra formula to fix one question. In the real thing, I think I actually did that just manually. I just substituted out and just manually put the hash on the front because it's quicker. Now level 6 and 7 are a little bit harder because we're using this kind of dictionary. And these are all single words. So we have the asterisks as symbols, and the numbers represent a word. So let's pull out what word we're looking for first. We'll do the example as well. So let's say extract numbers here. So what that will do is it will pull any numbers out, and that is just a regex command. So it's pulling out all the instances of numbers, so they're going to be separated wherever there's not a number. So I need to concatenate it in order to get it as one string. The hashes here are just representing capitals, so that's going to be my actual words, and then I need to translate these into numbers as well. So it's just going to be the short form, so it's going to be word value again of this in letters and short. Case sensitive doesn't matter because they're all lowercase, and I'm going to join them with no delimiter. So that is my numbers, and then let's do XLOOKUP. That in here, give me this. So that is going to be the words we're looking for here. And now we need to find which of these letters need to be capitalized. So a very nice trick here with regex, well, it's not really a trick, it's just understanding the syntax of regex, is to say I want to extract from this, and the pattern is going to be a hash and a number. So any number is \d, and then I want all instances of that. So if I just do that, it's going to look for a literal hash and then a number. So in some of these, you see we get all the capitals out. But what we really want is all the numbers out, because then the size of this array would match the number of letters here. And then if there's a hash there, we can capitalize it, and if there's not, we don't need to capitalize it. So what you can actually do in regex is put a question mark after something to make it optional. So I'm saying an optional hash, so hash or not and any digit. And now we're going to pull out all the digits as well as a hash and a digit. So now I have an array which matches the size of the letters of this. So I can then say exists, which underneath is just a is number x match, or in this case is number search. I have a search mode in here. So exists hash in there, and I want search mode. So that's going to give me trues where there's something capitalized and false where it's not. So let's turn this into a let. So I can say let cap be that, letters be 2 row of split text of this word. And I can say if cap give me upper of the letter, otherwise give me the letter, and you'll see I get all the letters then out nicely, and I can concatenate that back together. So now I have the word with the capitalization. And then the last step is to do the symbols. So again, I can say reg extract from this, and the pattern I want is \star, and I want any number of them. So plus means any number of asterisks there. So for some of them they won't be there, but the others it will pull it out. So if it's not there, I'm going to say if error blank. And I basically want to find the symbol. Let's do XLOOKUP that in letter. It's actually going to be short form or long form, and then give me letter. If it's not there, return blank. And what we'll get is we now get those symbols out. So the last step is to determine if the symbol comes before or after the word, and then concatenate that together. So let's turn this into a let. So I'm going to say let symbol be that. And I'm going to say before is left of this equals the asterisk. After is right of that equals the asterisk. And then I'm going to say concatenate if it's before, do the symbol, otherwise do blank. And then I want this text, and then I want if after give me the symbol, otherwise give me blank. And we have an error because I've missed a bracket on this right. So always like brackets or not locking cells that gets you. So now we have the full word here. So let's just type those in or copy those in. And we made one more mistake. We need to capitalize everything if there's a double hash there. So let's label this end and just say if left left this comma 2 equals hash hash, give me upper of end, otherwise give me end, and that should actually give me all the answers there. So we get the capitalization right. Now for level 7 we have exactly the same thing but multiple words, and now that we can do it for one word we can do it for multiple. So let's say text split this, and we know 0 is the space, so on 0. So we get those out, and then now in the real thing what I did is I kind of did these one by one with a 2col and then applied this formula across and then just dragged it down. But I need to get better at using lambda robot, so I'm going to turn this into a lambda. So I'm going to say this is my input, so mark as input cell, And then here I'm going to say generate lambda statement. So this is like an alternative to a data table, I suppose. And it's amazing what this thing can do. So it looks at every cell kind of that follows the chain to the result and writes it in a lambda, and it seems to work every time. It's pretty amazing. And I can say save lambda as. Let's do phone. So now I have that lambda. I can say map, here's my array, and I want to do the phone formula. Because that only has one argument, I don't need to do lambda a at that, I can just write phone there. And what you see is I get most of the words out, and I just need to join them back together with a space. However, for these symbols, I don't get anything because I just have a symbol. And when I did the formula up here, I concatenated this bit, but this bit, if it's just a symbol, it's not going to find anything and it will error out. So the easiest way to fix that is to actually say, let A be that. Let A be that text split thing. And then I'm going to say if error, I want to do map A, comma, phone. And then my value if error is going to be xlookup A in short, give me letter. And hopefully that fixes anything that's a symbol. So these now become the symbols. I think I'll fix the double hashes for everything capital at the end. So all I now need to do is say text join with a space this stuff here. And if anything that's not quite right, I'm just going to put upper on it. Granted, I can see the answers there, so it's easy to do a manual fix. I could do it here if I wanted to, but I mean, it's quicker to do it that way. Now let's do the bonuses. So bonus 1, what is on the 1 key on the keypad, so that's in here. So let's copy that and put that there. For the 100 words, what is the sum of their corresponding short form codes? So I just need the sum of these essentially. So I can say sum of split text that times 1, and we want the sum of that, which is 4298. 4298. Letter by letter translate them to long form. What is the 5th highest sum? Okay, so our long form is just this. So let's copy that formula there, and let's look for this word, long form, and then let's say text split that on a dash. And give me the sum. This is one thing I might want to fix about the lambda actually, which is because underneath the lambda is a map, this is actually an array. So I need to do concat that before I'm able to text split it. I have fixed that in some of my other lambdas, but I'll probably fix it in this one at some point as well. And now that does that, and I can times it by 1 and sum it. And we want the 5th highest. What's the 5th highest? So here's another lambda, which I've since made, which I stole from Eric Ashton. So thank you for the idea for this one. So biggest, it's basically an xlookup with exact match or next smaller or larger item. So I can say biggest in there, and then I can specify smallest instead of biggest and n. So if I say n is 5, it's going to give me the 5th biggest. I could also say sequence of 5 to get the top 5. So you'd have the top 5 spilled out there. So maybe just put 3 there so you can see the top 3. So that's a very useful lambda and quite simple underneath. Okay, what is the short form code for this? So let's grab a short form, which is level 5, I think. Yep. So let's grab that and let's do this. And we want the short form for where you at, holler at me when you get this. So let's put that into here. And then this is the all caps. So if, you know, all caps, whatever, so we're just going to say true because we know it's all caps from just looking at it. Okay, and lastly, how many presses would have been saved in levels 1 to 4 if you did them using the short form? So let's get the short form out. So the short form, again, it came in level 5, but we needed this capitals thing. So let's just put this here, and the letter is going to be that, so we always want to go off the letter, and we need to determine whether the letter is capital. For this question it won't matter, I think they're all lowercase, so the short form will be the same, but for here we might want this capital determination thing. So just add that to level 4 and 3 and 2. So I might not need it here anyway. And let's copy this formula down. So it's going to be off this now because they swapped for level 1 and 2, and this bit is going to be off of this. So for these capitals, for punctuation or spaces, the short form is just going to be 0, I imagine. So we actually want that to be false. So let's just remove those from punctuation. Then here, I assume, capitals are probably going to matter. So let's just inspect. No, there's no capitals that are going to matter there. And for level 4, okay, in this one we have symbols, so we don't want that there. And I think that is it. So we want to know the difference between the length of this and the length of this. So I'm going to say equals length of this is the long form, minus length of this. So let's copy that formula everywhere. These ones aren't going to be that different. And then question 1, I need to be careful to go off of this because this is the presses. So if I sum those all up, I get 521, which I don't think is the right answer. 521. Because I think you need to remove the dashes here because they don't count as key presses. That's just the syntax of answering the question. I think that should probably have been clarified here because that could have been quite confusing. So to fix that, that's only going to matter in these ones. So I actually want the length of substitute that, any dashes for a blank. And I think I need the same for level 4. So hopefully this is now our answer. 281. Let's see. 281. Yes, it is. Okay, so that is texting me back. I wouldn't say my Lambda boosted me too much on this because in the real solve, like I said, I did the exact formula. If I get time tomorrow, maybe I do a Lambda video because I have, like I said, I've got a load of useful ones now that I haven't shared. So a Lambda refresh video to share those might be good before Vegas to give people some ideas. So in 2 days' time, we have the knockout rounds of 64, 32 and 16. This is where I went out last year, so my road will probably come to an end again this time, but it's going to be good fun and I will put up solutions for those after. I also want to finish my course for beginners on how to do all this stuff. So yeah, I just so many videos to upload and there's cases just coming out left, right and centre in the minute. So hope you enjoyed and I'll see you next time.